The history of black cartoon characters date back to the early 1900s, though the earliest depictions were mostly minstrel shows and parodies. The 1970s is when cartoons actually started focusing on black pride or showing an all-African American cast in a more positive and realistic view, with shows like Harlem Globetrotters and Fat Albert. Then networks started banking in on animated series based on black celebrities like The Jackson 5, which was the first cartoon with an all-black musician cast, I Am the Greatest, The Adventures of Muhammad Ali, and the popular Mr. T series that ran for 3 seasons in the 1980s. And this fad continued into the 90s. By that decade, black animated series were giving more accurate depictions of black families and experiences. Unfortunately, most of them didn't last long due to low ratings or the fact that networks refused to stretch their budget to keep the programs running. In this video, I will be giving you a brief history of black cartoons in America, and also tell you about some shows you either forgot about or probably didn't even know existed. Besides their successful music career, hip-hop duo Kid and Play is best known for their joint acting ventures, most notably the House Party series. After the success of the first movie released in 1990, NBC offered the duo a deal for a Saturday morning cartoon produced by Marvel and Saban Entertainment, simply titled Kid and Play. On the show, the two rappers appear as themselves in the live-action portion at the start and finish of each episode for a little humor and to promote the lesson of the day. But the animated voiceovers were done by voice actors.
Hey, that pretend stuff is cool, Wiz.
No kidding. In fact, it's given me a cool idea for how to get a date with Marika.
Also a part of the voice cast is Tommy Davidson, Martin Lawrence, and Cree Summer, among others. Their 1989 hit song, Rolling with Kid and Play, was used as the theme song for the series. The show was called lame by professional critics, and it only lasted for 1 season until 1991. But in 1992, Marvel Comics released a comic book series based on the cartoon that lasted for 9 issues.
And he became Hammerman, 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 Hammer.
In the early 1990s, American rapper and dancer MC Hammer rose to popularity with his hit songs You Can't Touch This and Too Legit to Quit. At the height of his mainstream success, Hammer was approached for many business ventures and acting opportunities. In September 1991, a cartoon series titled Hammerman aired on ABC starring the MC as a superhero. The cartoon was produced by DIC Animation City, the company responsible for developing Inspector Gadget and Sailor Moon. The show follows a youth center worker who transforms into a rapping and dancing superhero when he wears a pair of magical shoes. Each episode ended with a live-action MC Hammer discussing the episode's lesson, just like the Kid and Play series.
So check this out. Anybody like graffiti?
No.
Why not?
It ruins it.
Because most people put it where they're not supposed to. Now, it can be good, but it's not right when you put it on other people's property. And that's what the show is all about today. Jody goes all around Oaktown putting graffiti everywhere on everybody's property, and she gets in trouble. As a matter of fact,
it aired on Sunday mornings for 13 episodes, but Hammerman was poorly received by critics, and it would not be renewed for another season. A journalist for Entertainment Weekly listed Hammerman at the top of his list of the top 5 most ridiculous things to be turned into a Saturday morning cartoon. By the late 90s, adult animated sitcoms had become super popular. The 1992 film Bebe's Kids had developed a cult following.
Bebe's Kids.
We don't die, we multiply.
Damon Wayans created the short-lived series titled Waynehead, based on his own childhood in the Chelsea neighborhood in the New York City borough of Manhattan. Next is another short-lived series titled Bear and Jamal, centered around a boy named Jamal and his hip-hop rapping teddy bear. Sadly, both series only lasted for 1 season.
Once upon a time in the projects.
Then, Eddie Murphy co-created the popular stop-motion claymation show titled The PJs for Fox in A Story of Life Within the Projects. It won 3 Emmy Awards and 1 Annie Award during its 3-season run. But its high budget and declining ratings led to its cancellation in 2001. In the 2000s, black sitcoms like The Boondocks, Little Bill, and The Proud Family were the highest-rated animated sitcoms for black households. It was also during this time when we started seeing more Japanese-style animes and manga series with black protagonists like Afro Samurai, voiced by Samuel L. Jackson. However, most of the other black characters in Japanese-style series weren't actually voiced by black actors or even created by black people. By the end of the decade, Disney's first black princess movie, The Princess and the Frog, gave viewers a realistic depiction of the black community in New Orleans during the 1920s.
Dreams do come true in New Orleans.
In March 2003, during the height of mature animated programming, BET premiered the first ever animated series targeting an adult audience that explored life, friendship, and experiences of single black women titled Hey Moni.
That scarf looks like you slapped it on your head. Okay, would you just fix it?
Oh,
I don't need your attitude.
Okay,
just
here we
help
go.
me.
Wait a minute, it's not even. Oh my.
Producer Dorothy Gillum originally pitched the idea to Oxygen Network with comedian Wanda Sykes in mind. But she couldn't commit, and the series was eventually picked up by BET. The former president and chief operating officer of BET said, "African American women are intelligent, multi-dimensional, career-minded, and delightfully complex. And Hey Moni presents characters that our viewers can identify with in everyday situations." As we expand our programming mix, an adult-themed animated series will offer additional variety to our audience. This groundbreaking series does exactly that, with clever humor, provocative satire, and spontaneous dialogue from the interactions between diverse characters in real-life situations. End quote. The series was written by real-life best friends Frances Collier and Angela V. Shelton of the comedic duo Frangela. Hey Moni follows Simone, aka Moni, played by Angela, a professional single woman with her good friend named Yvette, played by Frances. Oprah Winfrey also made a guest voice appearance. The 11-minute original program was produced in conjunction with Oxygen Media and Soup to Nuts Production, and ran for 25 episodes across 3 seasons that year. At some point, episodes were extended to 20 minutes. But BET decided not to bring Hey Moni back. The Frangela duo alleged that the network hired a white writer. In an interview, Angela said, "They literally had a white man writing a script for 2 black women who had absolutely no understanding of women, or blackness, or friendship in that way. Then they came back to us and said, 'Hey, why don't you give him ideas?' And we were like, 'You mean the things that we had been doing before?'" The duo went on to star in both joint and solo projects for shows like Family Guy, The Cleveland Show, HBO's Black Lady Sketch Show, Disney's Just Roll With It, CBS's Two Broke Girls, HBO's Curb Your Enthusiasm, Hannah Montana, and VH1's Best Week Ever. Some of the episodes for Hey Moni are available right here on YouTube.
This show is music. It's funky, it's soulful, it's fun.
Fun, energy, and good vibes. I mean, that's a pretty trademark phrase that I've been using.
It's funk.
This show has definitely made me more funky.
It's sophisticated funk.
Well, I was born funky.
This will be the coolest place on television, I'm telling you.
Since being part of the Southern hip-hop duo Outkast alongside Big Boy, Andre 3000 has wandered into many other business and career ventures like acting and designing a fashion line. In the early 2000s, television producer Thomas W. Lynch began developing an animated musical series with the then executive vice president of Adult Swim, Mike Lazo. Both men bonded over their love for Outkast and Andre 3000 in particular, so they decided to pitch the idea to the musician. For 2 years, the men developed the direction of the series, which eventually evolved from the original Adult Swim concept to a regular family show. The series, titled Class of 3000, premiered on Cartoon Network on November 3, 2006, with a major one-hour special full of live performances.
Oh, you best believe it's going down.
Live from Atlanta, Georgia, it's the Class of 3000 Premiere Throwdown, starring Andre 3000, with performances by Chris Brown, next Friday at 7 on Cartoon Network.
Are those barbecue chips?
The series follows disaffected superstar and music teacher Sonny Bridges, who abandoned his career and now teaches a group of students at Wesley School of Performing Arts in the Little Five Points neighborhood of Atlanta, Georgia. Andre not only voiced the role of Sonny, he was also executive producer of the show, and the character Lil D is loosely based on Andre's own upbringing in Bankhead, Atlanta, and his love for music. Andre wanted to stray away from the idea of making his name and celebrity the premise of the show, like Hammerman or the Jackson 5 series.
And then he ran with it and said, man, what if we did it kind of like where I grew up in Atlanta? What if we made it all Southern? I said, that's great. I hadn't heard that before.
I wanted to do like a truly original, like Dirty South cartoon. You never get to see those voices. You know, I felt like it was a great backdrop for what I wanted to do.
A lot of it's based on Andre's memories of childhood, but I wanted to have a very magical, whimsical character that kind of led these kids. The Willy Wonka, the Wizard of Oz, the Pied Piper, it has those elements to it.
Class of 3000 received generally positive reviews, and critics compared it to Fat Albert. The series was also slated to begin featuring guest musicians, including Big Boy, Gwen Stefani, Pharrell, and Snoop Dogg. But a year later, after 2 seasons and nearly 30 episodes, the series was canceled due to low ratings, scheduling conflicts with Andre, and budget issues at the network. Then a year after that, in late 2008, Andre 3000, Cartoon Network, and Turner Broadcasting were hit with a $2 million lawsuit by a Boston postal worker named Timothy McGee, who claims they ripped off his idea for an animated series about a group of young musicians. Timothy alleges he developed characters, artwork, storylines, and concepts back in 1997 and pitched it to Cartoon Network's then Vice President of Programming, Mike Lazo. He sued for copyright infringement, breach of contract, and misappropriation of trade secrets. As payment, he requested all profits from the show and legal fees. But the case was dismissed by a U.S. district attorney after finding no similarities between the projects. And that's the end of that. I also recommend you guys watch this video I did where I talked about Andre 3000's failed fashion line. But let's move on with the list. Friday, the animated series, was a short-lived 2007 animated television series based on the Friday film series. Yes, you heard that right. An unnecessary Friday series that absolutely nobody asked for, created by and co-produced by none other than Ice Cube. What's so interesting about this series is that none of the original characters are voiced by the original cast, which included Ice Cube, who is the one who created the series. And in the series, Willie Jones is voiced by a white actor.
Oz, you had me around these last 20 years, putting food on the table, setting an example
of what not to do.
After stepping away from the Boondocks, which aired its final episode in summer 2014, executive producer, director, and writer Carl Jones re-emerged with Black Dynamite, a blaxploitation parody cartoon based on the titular 2009 live-action comedy film.
Junebug, Bo Willie Peter, and me. That's bad bull hunt.
Voiced by Michael J. White, Black Dynamite is a crime-fighting vigilante out to keep his community safe. Additional voices were done by industry veterans that include Kim Whitley, Tommy Davidson, Tachina Arnold, Samuel L. Jackson, and Charlie Murphy. They went through Korean animation studios to assist with producing Black Dynamite.
I want to tell you a story about a friend I've had. He's a mean soul brother and he's super bad. So grab onto your seats and hang on tight.
A 10-minute pilot episode was released on Adult Swim on August 8, 2011, before the full series officially started airing on the network in summer 2012. Most episodes were rated TVMA for mature due to nudity, violence, and strong language. The series was critically acclaimed, with each of its 20 episodes getting around 1 million viewers. Things seemed to be going great for Black Dynamite. But on February 6, 2015, Carl Jones announced on Twitter that the show was canceled after only 2 seasons. No explanation was given, and that was pretty much the end of that. Last but certainly not least, a lot of people aren't aware that former professional boxer Mike Tyson had a long-running animated series on Adult Swim. A show called Mike Tyson Mysteries was developed by Hugh Davidson and Larry Dorff and presented to Mike. The show was inspired by Hanna-Barbera mystery shows that were popular throughout the 70s, particularly Scooby-Doo. In the series, Mike is a crime fighter who solves various mysteries alongside the ghost of Marcus of Queensberry, his adopted daughter, and an alcoholic talking pigeon. The series, produced by Warner Brothers Animation, premiered on Adult Swim on October 27, 2014. After a strong first season and positive reviews, Mike Tyson Mysteries was renewed for a second season and went on to produce 70 11-minute episodes. Mike said, "They asked me to do a cartoon and I'd never done a cartoon. At the height of my career, cartoon people wouldn't have touched me with a 1,000-foot pole. I'm down on my deepest luck and now they're like, hey Mike, you wanna do this? I'm getting all these deals now, and I don't know if it's sympathy, but I get a lot of things. I wanted a cartoon before, but never had a cartoon. It's really big stuff for me. It gets no bigger when you consider the conglomerate that I'm working with at this particular moment. When they first approached me about the project, I was a little apprehensive because the pay wasn't much and the concept was really odd. What was I gonna do? And I had no idea what Adult Swim was. Before, I just thought it was going to be bullshit." Sadly, in February 2020, Mike Tyson Mysteries ended its run after 4 seasons. In the 2020 decade, we are kind of seeing a rise in cartoons led by Black protagonists or created by Black people. Hopefully this decade becomes the golden era for Black animations. And if you're a person developing an animated series watching this video right now and is looking for a voice actress, my business email is always available in every video. Anyway, like this video and subscribe to Black Femininity TV for more content.